All right. Good evening, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good day. If it's nighttime and you're heading to bed, just give us another 15 minutes or so. This is Shirley, and welcome to day number 2 of my week. Hello. Thank you for jumping on. This week I'm doing 7 days, just talking about women and the importance of women being and knowing and developing courage and looking out for one another and all those cool, wonderful things. So yesterday I talked about something that's fundamental to me, to my work, to my life as a human being and as a woman. And I said that one of the basic philosophies of my life and my work is when one woman succeeds, all women win. One woman succeeds, any woman succeeds at anything, all women win. It opens a door, it lifts women, it moves women forward. And today I'm going to switch that around because the obverse is true. When any woman is not doing well, none of us is. Until all of us are doing well, none of us really is. We're all vulnerable, subject to everything that any other woman is subject to, is vulnerable to, can experience, whether we're talking about violence or discrimination or any any of the other things that women experience. And I want to say, however, that I wanted to start this live earlier today. It's Sunday in the Caribbean. It's stormy outside now. It looks much later than it is. It's dark, the clouds are dark, and there was a little bit of thunder earlier. It's got windy all of a sudden. And it's Sunday, it's a weekend. And so I'm being very, very casual. And I have on this big t-shirt thing that one of the young people in my life gave to me. It's long enough to make a mini dress, but a dress nonetheless. And I'm just really, really comfortable. I'm looking at myself in my life and I think I look orange. But orange is a lovely, powerful color. That is a mixture, obviously, of red and yellow. And red and yellow are both powerful colors. And so I put on this orange today. Now I went to the beach earlier and came back and put on this orange to kind of brighten up. The sea is dark, the skies are dark, there's light on the horizon, but that's about it. And so this is to brighten me up and also to prepare me for the week. I'm also not wearing any makeup today. I didn't do the mask today. And I say mask only jokingly because I wear makeup. I do, sometimes more than other times. And today I'm not wearing any because sometimes it just is important and just necessary and just, it just is the way to go, to just be barefaced and clear and straight and unfiltered. And today I think is one of those unfiltered days because it's one of those times where I'm going to be talking about women not doing well, when things are not going well for women and what that means. And how often that means that, and how that by itself means that women are not doing well, and why it is that women are still suffering so in the 21st century, and how it is that so many people refuse to see that. There's so many people, men mostly, but women also, many, many women who think that it is okay that women suffer, that as long as the violence and the pain and so on not touching them, it's not really so bad. And there's so many women who believe that because some of us live in parts of the world where, hey Dr. Jackman, because so many of us live in the parts of the world, not so many, some of us live in parts of the world where the laws protect us as much as laws can. Many of us feel that, we've done the work, we've arrived, and therefore we can relax. We can't relax because, among other things, this new world is so connected, so interconnected that what happens to one happens to everybody else. And a perfect example is what's been happening in Iran for these last few weeks. What has shown up, what has been brought into our faces out of Iran these last few weeks. A few weeks ago, a young woman, 22-year-old student, Mahsa Amini, was killed in custody She had been arrested for not wearing hijab properly, for not covering up properly. And the reality is that no matter how you slice it, dice it, cut it up, no matter where you look at it from, the reality is that hijab and those things that are meant to cover women are meant to hide women. And there's nobody's denying that, actually, because the laws around hijab declare that it's about modesty, it's about covering yourself and not allowing women to be seen. The problem is that when women are denied visibility, they are denied personhood, they are denied autonomy. And so they remain vulnerable and subject and dependent. And that's a problem for me, especially in today's world. It's 2022. And, the things that might have made sense 600 years ago, I can't see how they make sense now. Many of them, they just don't. The world's different. And as one thing moves along, everything else ought to. So as men advance, women ought to as well. So, because in the United States, in the Caribbean, in Europe, in parts of South America, parts of Africa, parts of Asia, women have laws that protect us from certain things that allow us autonomy and independence, allow us to work, allow us to make our own decisions to a great extent. We tend to think that the other instances where it isn't. Hello, and thank you for joining. Where women are not experiencing that, they are the exceptions. They're not. The world is moving, but no, most of the world is not moving there. That's the problem. That's a big problem. So what happened to Mahsa Amini does not happen only in Iran. You know why? Because those same people, those same rules, those same laws, those same purviews travel the world just as easily as everybody else. They live in all of the world. Here in Montserrat, I know 2 women who wear hijab. They cover. They're not required to, and nobody could force them to do that in Montserrat, but their religion requires it, and they do it. And of course, we all accept that there are times when modesty really is the best policy, if you want to put it that way. But the notion that women are to be seen and not to be seen and not to be heard, are not persons, are not all of that comes out of this idea that it is divine instruction, divine plan that women are less than men, less than human, that women are subject to and must follow and must be decided for, must never become adult, it's just not acceptable. But that is how a lot of the world is. And that is why Mahsa Amini is dead. And other people who protested her death, they are also dead. That is why girls in places like Pakistan and some parts of Africa and some parts of Asia are not allowed to go to school. That's why Afghanistan is in the condition it is right now, because this suppression of 50%, at least 50% of the population just doesn't help anyone. And if we think it doesn't affect us, let me just give you an example. A week or so ago, I can't remember the date, Christiane Amanpour from CNN had arranged an interview with Ibrahim Raisi, who is the president of Iran, in New York. He was visiting. He was there for United Nations work. And that's another thing we could talk about. And she arranged, an interview was arranged with her to interview him. And he required her to cover her head. In New York City, she is part Iranian actually, but she's not Muslim. She does not wear hijab. But in order to interview her, he was insisting that she wear hijab. So he was imposing his requirements on a woman not part of his community, not even in his part of the world, a professional woman doing her work, but he was imposing this because she's a woman, and women, that's how women are supposed to be. Not seen, not heard, and she refused, and so the interview didn't go down, and we didn't get to hear what he might have had to say about this young girl. Well, the coroner determined that she died from illness rather than from the beatings that she's alleged to have got. She's not the first woman that has happened to. She won't be the last. And unfortunately, sadly, tragically, women are dying every day because some systems under which we live demand that women not be seen, believe that women are not worthy of being seen, that women have nothing to contribute to the world, that women should not be allowed to go to school. They don't need to learn anything because they can't contribute. And it's not, it's just not, we're just not good enough for that. That bothers me. And it bothers me not only because it happens, but because it affects all of us. We're talking about it now. I'm talking about it. Other people are talking about it. Women all over the world are feeling this. Women from Iran travel. People travel to Iran. Iran's not the only place. You've got Saudi Arabia, Afghanistan, you have Pakistan, parts of Indonesia, parts of Africa, where the notion that women, these thinkings about women persist and endanger women's lives. And when these things happen to women, this continuing perception around women makes itself felt around the world. That thing with Christiane Amanpour is not the only one, because there are, like I said, these things happen. If you check the news, you will see that you will see news stories coming out of France or coming out of England or coming out of the United States, other parts of the world, where young girls are being brought up to believe that they are not worthy, that they are not quite human beings. And you have the same things, the same early marriage and forced marriage and female genital mutilation. You have all those things going on with girls, not just girls living over there, but girls living in cities and towns in the United States, in the United Kingdom, in France, in Italy. Yeah. And so it does affect us. It does affect us. So and if we think about violence against women, if you think about other forms of violence, think about political violence. Women are killed, women are harassed, women are violated in all kinds of ways when they present themselves for political office. All around the world, even the United States, even England. And that obviously affects the laws, the legislation, the culture of the country. And those countries, the European countries, many of them, and the United Kingdom and the United States are countries, and China, for example, are countries with a lot of influence over smaller countries. And they use that influence. They use it without restraint, without too much bother to about the long-term effect. And so their purviews, their perceptions, their treatments of women, when women are not allowed, when women are prevented from participating in the legislating and the policy making in those countries, and they make decisions that affect us through the United Nations, for example, or through aid and diplomatic relations, they offer aid. It affects the people that they're helping because they add their requirements. So, for example, when the United States offers aid, it has requirements. It attaches things. We're giving you the money for this, but you must also not do that thing, or you must also do that thing. And often, you hear it over and over, women's groups agitate and advocate and plead and ask and negotiate for support for women, so that women women in these countries can have access to the resources and the support and the facilitation, if you will, of their lives. And yet it continues, because in those countries, so many of the laws, legislation, the policies are being created by men who have no little idea, and perhaps even less interest in, what's happening with women over there. And so when they send the money for this particular thing and it hurts women or doesn't help women, it doesn't really matter. Now, it has been proven over and over again that women in political office affect the laws, the legislation, the policy making, and that this difference that they make in these places redound to the benefit of women, because they pay attention to and make laws and policies that support the things that women are directly held responsible for, or directly engaged in: family, health, schooling, community events, community activities, community cultures. So when if women are being kept out of office in these places, like China, like the United States, if women are being kept out of the offices where these decisions are being made, then it's not just affecting women in America. It's affecting women in the Caribbean, in Africa, in Southeast Asia, in South America, in the Mediterranean. Yeah. And so when women are being prevented from being successful in the United States, or in Europe, or in China, or in Nigeria, it affects other places. And so it comes back around to what I was saying earlier. It's not just that when one woman succeeds, all women win. It is also that when one woman fails, when one woman is prevented, it affects other women. All other women are affected by this, are also prevented. Also because people do what other people see. Monkey see, monkey do. And so there are policymakers who can get shamed into making decisions that help and support, or who get inspired into making decisions that help and support. So it does occur that policymakers, politicians see something happening in that country and are ashamed to think, well, if it's happening there, should it not also be happening here? Oh my gosh, I can't have that. And so they make decisions that help and support. That's what I wanted to talk about tonight. This is setting the stage for the conversations we're going to have about the Women's Leadership Circle, within the Women's Leadership Circle, and the notion that we are all responsible for each other, and that it is up to us, it is up to women to keep pushing, to keep working, keep negotiating, keep demanding, keep stepping in and stepping up and standing up for women everywhere. My work is for women everywhere. I've done work for and with women literally in all parts of the world, in China, Africa, Europe, the Caribbean, America, and little islands and other countries in between. And so this is really, really important to me. This is the reason why I started the Women's Leadership Circle. This is the reason why I continue to do this work. I said it before, and I'll say it over and over again. My work in this world revolves around two things: this little island of mine that I love so much, that I am coming to you from here, and women of which I'm a part. The group of the women of which I am a part. And it is really important to me that both of these do well. And so I do my work around these. This particular piece is about women. My other work for Montserrat has to do with brain power and the brain trust, the Montserrat conference, and but the goal is the same. The desire is the same. The impetus, the inspiration, the motivation, the dedication, the will is the same. And the courage comes, hey there, hi, thank you. The courage to do this, to stand up every day and do this work, comes from knowing these things, that what I do affects others and what I don't do also affects others. So every time I stand up, I'm clear that every time I do this, I'm helping not just the women who are listening to me, but other women who are being affected, who are being influenced, who are being inspired or motivated by the girls and the women and the men who hear me, and who understand, who can conceive of a world in which women are able to just make our contribution, the contributions that we can, which are just as valid, just as valuable, just as necessary as those that men make. And that if women, to the extent that women are prevented from making this contribution, all of us are denied, all of us are denied, period. To the extent that that women are prevented or denied the opportunity to make our contributions, all of the others of us, men, women, children, all over the world, are deprived and denied. And it's important that we understand that, and that we do whatever we possibly can to adjust that, especially when we live in small communities, but no less when we live in large communities. So I want to leave you with this tonight. Think about this and look around you and see where there might be an opportunity for you to make a difference to a girl, a woman who is not able, for whatever reason, to access information, access education, to find creative outlet, or just to be safe, just to feel safe. Sometimes all it takes is a conversation. It's amazing what one conversation can do. And bear in mind, it's not always a conversation with a girl or a woman. Sometimes talking to a man. For example, the female genital mutilation, the work around FGM, a lot of it is being done with men. Because where did this come from? One African woman once put it this way: our fathers and our grandfathers did it. And so we continue this. It was the men who wanted this done. FGM is not for women, it's for men. The hijab is not for women, it's for men. Violence is not for women. The violence that is used to suppress women and keep women unable to contribute doesn't serve women, but it serves men's power. And that denies all of us untold opportunity and advancement. And so I continue to do the work through the Women's Leadership Circle, through these events. And my invitation to you is to join me. Just think about your life and the opportunities and the people around you and the world around you. And perhaps that will help you see an opening where you can make a difference. And in any case, I'm inviting you to join the Women's Leadership Circle. You can go online at shirleyosborne.com, join, or give a gift to someone. And in any case, join me when I'm doing my lives and share the live, share the information that you get here, and send me your comments, your thoughts, your suggestions. Also, send me thoughts and suggestions for fun ideas, because we don't do only these serious issues. So over the week, we're going to do this, but we're also going to talk about fun things like, I don't know, big t-shirts that make mini skirts and shoes and all kinds of cool other things. But they all are part of who we are. It is just as important that we talk about dress and makeup and no makeup as it is that we talk about these other things. They have different weight, they address different things, but they're all part of our lives. And so we're going to talk about all of them, right? So thank you so very much for having joined me. Have yourself a wonderful Sunday evening or Monday morning if you're off to work. Have a good week at work, and I will see you tomorrow. In the meantime, take good care.